Like
Hold on.
dreams are fulfilled without asking, and the dream gets better every
Yeah, dreams are fulfilled without needs, desires, wants are all met without even any asking, no effort, and life is better than anything we could have ever fathomed. It's better than anything we could have dreamed, and the dream gets better in every moment. It's not about manifesting something better. It's not about getting somewhere else besides here. It's about we are right here, right now, and there is more available to us right here, right now in this moment than we ever could have fathomed. So, how available can we be for the ridiculousness of abundance that's accessible here now? It's a flip. It's turning the manifestation arrow around. And instead of going, we need to get here and manifest a different place, it's saying we're already here. Let's deepen into this right now. So that I care about. And as we do that, we become like agents of light. We're just welcoming people home, welcoming people home into this truth that everything we could have ever wanted and fathomed and hoped for and dreamed is available right here, right now in this moment. It's never been anywhere else. Mary's working it. And so then the new game becomes like, okay, how much can we open up and allow the light which we are to penetrate through and melt any resistances that are ready to be dissolved? And how do we regulate and stabilize at higher and higher and higher frequencies? How do we feel grounded, stable, regulated, present, and safe as we're becoming more and more high vibrational? Because that's the other thing. Sometimes people have peak experiences and they feel dysregulated, unsafe, uncentered, blah, blah, blah. And that's not what we want. We want regulated, safe, present, grounded, connected, resourced, higher vibrational life. Okay.
You sounded like a prophet.
Making profits profitable.
That's the title of the manual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that because it turns around all the spirituality stuff. Remember, Forrest, when we were talking about these meta modern people who are trying to be so empty so that they be alive, stop being alive. And when you say grounded, fully resourced, with money, it sounds very alive and very present, not empty,
Yeah.
and spiritual at the same time. So it's
Yeah.
like turning this whole idea. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, when you first hit emptiness, it's like, holy shit, all these thoughts, all these stories I have, all this shit, it's totally made up. Like, fuck, I made all this shit up. Damn. And then it's like, but then at some point, the longer you sit in it, it's like, holy shit, the emptiness is so full. Like, whoa, like when I'm in I don't know, I'm in pure possibility, and all those possibilities are full, and then fullness and emptiness start interpenetrating, and it's like emptiness, fullness, fullness, emptiness. I don't know. I'm just playing with words at this point, but yeah, exactly, right? It's like exactly.
So being spiritual and feeling alive at the same time. And being grounded. Interesting.
Yeah, like some really big themes. Like, so from the Victoria, we've had 3 in-person gatherings, And I'm kid you not, a ton of the shit we did at in-person gatherings was just regulating nervous systems. Like most people are insanely overwhelmed. And the challenge is a lot of people who are doing consciousness work right now are chronically stressed out and are not able to relax, which is probably the most important capacity in relationship to money, is the capacity to relax. But what do? Like we take psychedelics, we go take an ice bath, we intermittent fast, and we do all these things that put more and more and more stress on the body. And it's like, what do we actually need to do? We need to be able to take a salty bath instead of an ice bath. Trade the ice bath for a salt bath, right? Relax, receive. That it's literally a practice of receiving and then co-regulating. We literally, when we were in Utah, we just had everybody sitting back to back and breathing. And then things that have been deep down underneath the surface waiting to be seen and felt and moved come up, and you have a bomb go off. It's just like boom. You know? And so that's actually getting ready to be the game for humanity. It's like all this stuff's like gonna keep getting more and more berserk. And it's like people are either gonna be like spun out and trying to get somewhere, like, oh, we need to fix this, we need to blah 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 blah, or people are just gonna be able to sit deeply rooted and like, okay, like all this shit's falling apart, but that's fine. Like anything we could ever fathom and more. Like the only things we could ever dream up are out of known possibilities. And what's trying to happen on the planet right now is not coming from anything we could possibly think up because it had never existed before. So we have to be able to just sit in the space where that which we've never conceptualized can come into awareness, and we can go, oh, new moment. So that's another thing we do is we incubate new moments. We create a space where new moments can manifest. Because most people are walking through their life, taking the road from behind them and putting it in front of them and walking the same piece of path that they walked, and they do that every day. And when you come hang out with us, you stop doing that, and there's new moments that happen. New moments in yourself, new moments in your relationships, new moments in one relationship being money, in your community. All right. What's happening for you, Mary?
Well, I'm just typing this, and what's happening for me is just like a lot of tension around my throat. I'm wishing that I had, like, I'm hearing everything you're saying, and saying, yes, that's the reality that we experienced, and I haven't been able to face it.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Mary.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise, but it is better. Yeah.
Yeah, what's happening for me is I'm hearing you and I'm feeling it resonate in my heart, and just kind of like remembering the experiences that we had in Utah. And I'm also feeling a lot of tightness in my throat, and just like I haven't been able to vocalize it, what we experienced. Like this is all alive deep inside of me, and I'm having a hard time bringing it into the space I'm in right now. And so I'm just feeling the gap there, and having a desire to bring it into form. Because what we experienced, I mean, it was just like miracle after miracle after miracle in these like micro, like they were huge, and they were just exactly what you're saying of these new moments. Like they were just, it would just happen in a second. and a whole new world of possibility was born in just like a split second. And
Is there anything your throat wants to say, Mary?
one thing my throat wants to say is I want to be free. Yeah. One thing my throat wants to say is I want to leave my husband.
What's the last thing she said? I want to leave my husband.
That was a really crappy time. And my throat wants to say a lot of like the exact words that you're saying, Forrest, are alive in me. And they have been alive in me for years. And something's happened that has just like collapsed the connection between my heart and my voice. And another thing is just like I feel so much hope. I feel so much heart and energy behind this because of what I'm experiencing right now and because of that collapse. And I've known it and believed it to be possible for a long time. And then to experience it in reality with you was just like a relief for all of humanity. So there, baby.
As you're talking, Mary, I have this like there's an image coming to me, a vision of us holding like a light in action information session and basically like inviting the whole world to come and hear about what we're doing. And then like Stefan and I going up. It's kind of like demo day, but a different kind. And then Stefan, I'd be like, hey everybody, like we could tell you all about this, or we could just let you hear from the people who've participated and then put you all on stage and let you talk about it and then just let the world figure out what to do with that.
I've had a similar image, not the scope of the whole world, but like a large dinner hosted somewhere. Yeah, for people to experience it in person and for people who have, I mean, like for those of us who went through the incubator, I don't know what the cohort was like, but it's like we have this baby understanding of this new world, and even saying that is just like when a baby is when you bring a baby into your home, it's very cliche, but like you literally bring heaven into your home. It changes the whole vibration and environment of your home. And bringing that correlation into this, like y'all just birthed a whole bunch of new babies. Like you brought heaven closer into this world, and I guess what's arising in me right now is like, let's take advantage of that new vibration, of that new piece of heaven that's here. And yeah, bring a bunch of people together so they can hear it and feel it. And for me, I don't know about the other people that have experienced this, but to be able to move my voice and share it and have it be able to experience, and then to experience the impact of that on other people, like that births me into a new stage of development in this new awareness, if that makes sense. Just like a toddler trying to find their voice and find a new vocabulary, and like, and something else was coming up for me, that when I came to Boulder, like I couldn't control the words coming out of my mouth in that initial, those initial few moments that I said something like, this light is a container for passion to be enlivened, or something like that. And so I don't, you understand better what was being done there, but what if, like, are you recording what people are saying when they have this initial impact? Because does that begin a new language and a new vocabulary around what we're doing? I don't know if these thoughts or words are kind of afraid. I'm so sleep deprived. But those are some things.
As you're talking, I'm just continuing to get more of an image of like inviting the world to this big dinner or this call and saying like, hey, we've got a event happening in Ukraine when the war ends. We'll be hanging out in Ukraine in September. We're going to do an event in Mexico in June. We're going to do an event in Washington in August. We're going to do an event in Boston in October. We're going to do an event in Madrid in November. we're gonna do one in Australia in December, like, and just speaking to the world and saying like, hey, this is what's happening, and just keep providing a stage for people to speak to the experience they're having, and then tell everyone, hey, we're doing this next. I love the workshops. Like, we're doing a workshop, we're doing a dinner, we're doing another workshop. Like that, that organically emerged so naturally. And then we've
But
also
not you.
got, I was gonna say, we've also got the online cohort. Like, I don't know what that. Yeah, what that looks like, but that's the other piece too, is we got the online cohort, and we've got investors. So that's happening for me. And my sense is, uh, I'm really open to however I can be of support, but I don't know what else to do in terms of training facilitators besides just having you all be in space together, like, and just learning but through experience. Like, I'm happy to answer questions, and I feel like we could co-emerge some things together, but I'm not carrying a rubric for this stuff. The cool thing is I can speak from it much more than I can speak to it. So if I could speak to it, I could describe it better and we could have a book. But if I had to choose between being able to speak to it versus being able to speak from it, I would pick choosing to speak from it, because it means it's actually embodied. Now it's not an either or, it can be both. Because if I could speak about it, then there would be a book, then there would be an online course, then there would be a manual, then there would be, for some reason, shadow work sessions is coming out. Um, yeah, so that's all happening for me. And just to keep going with what's coming up for me, the other thing that's um, the other thing that's important for me is I really want to do these decelerator weekends with tech companies. I feel borderline like a calling to do that. Like, with how much AI is coming out right now and how much faster things can be built, I really feel called to invite the tech people to slow down. Like, we can build anything we want. That doesn't mean we should build everything we can. And we need to really, like, we could create something we have to spend the next 100 years taking apart. And we just don't want to do that. We need to slow down. We need to reconnect to our bodies. We need to regulate our nervous systems. We need to drop into what's actually essential. We might not need a bunch of new technologies. And again, it's that whole thing of everyone's trying to get somewhere faster, but where the hell is it everyone's trying to go? Where is it that's better than here? You know? So that, I feel like actually a calling to do, because I can speak the language. I can speak the language of leadership, of business, of technology. I can talk to engineers. I can talk to founders. I can talk to investors. I can talk to Silicon Valley. I can talk to Austin, Texas. I can talk to New York. I can talk to Dubai. I can talk to um, all these places. That feels like a calling. But this also belongs in families. It belongs in homes. It belongs in communities. So that's, I mean, that's the essential thing here. That's why business, a conscious entrepreneurship incubator doesn't work for me. We called it an incubator for consciousness, not a conscious incubator, or an incubator for conscious people, an incubator for consciousness itself, an incubator for the soul, the human soul, the collective soul. Okay, I'd like to stop talking now. What's happening for you two?
Well, for me, when you were talking about IT people and decelerating, I had an image of Twinkle Field as slowing down field, as if you come in this, slow time, slow space where you have time to reconnect with your body, with your everything. So it's not specifically about the words that would be said, but just this space where you can come and just slow down and take a minute or take an hour to reconnect. And I also liked you said in the beginning that what we were doing, we were regulating our nervous systems, so we could put it in twinkle field as well as a goal.
Mm.
But it's all the same thing, right? Slowing down, regulating self, um, connecting to higher self, grounding. It all sounds to me like coming closer to truth, to true self, something like this. And the second thing, what's coming up, is that I think you showed us some kind of slide with 8 bullets where it looked like a program for facilitators training, and I thought it was like something like form of training that you and Stefan had, and now you said that you don't see it as a program, right? Because
Yeah,
before you said there is an online part, live part, and it all needs to be done, but now you don't see it like that, right?
here's what I've got. Can I share my screen with you all?
Mhm.
So here's what I have. Light and action facilitator training, supporting practitioners, facilitating on leading edge of healing and transformational work. So we currently have the incubator weekends, the 3-month decelerator, the twinkle field, and this is going to be $30K, $30,000. This is our investor donor program. So we have 5 people who are like very financially successful, who do impact work in the world, and we're supporting them on making their impact more, like bringing people who are doing impact work who are very financially well resourced together to collectively emerge more effective impact models. So the weekend includes, we did the training, 8 most important topics. Unique gift with Stefan, thank you money, access to inner resources, fields of coherence, shadow work, saying no, setting boundaries, technique for manifestation. Yep. So that's the topics you're speaking to.
I guess they are.
I'll just put them in the chat here so we can look at each other, but there they are.
Because I remember, maybe I'm mixing something up, but I remember you saying that this what would require a facilitator to go through to learn.
Yeah, for sure. It is true. And what I'm saying is the thing I'm trying to articulate is that most of the time people have facilitator trainings and they say, okay, you all have done the training, now you can do parts work with people, or now you can do Reiki or whatever. And what I'm trying to say is like we need to do and we will do what I just articulated, but I am also being straight up that this shit is so alive that I would never be able to teach you what you need to understand to facilitate, because in every single moment it's evolving. Like what Light in Action has asked of me, I never could have fathomed, and every day it asks more in terms of my transformation. So the idea of I'm going to figure out what I need to do to facilitate Light in Action is a complete and total fallacy. The second you think that is the second that you're teeing yourself up to have that get blown up. like like part of being able to facilitate Light in Action is being able to be completely in, I have no clue what's going on. And that is the beginning of I can facilitate this. Like I don't have a clue what's going on. So how the hell do we navigate life from here? Because that's what I'm saying. When we're in I don't know, we're in pure possibility. So it's actually a requirement to let go of any idea we could know how to do this. And then from there, we ultimately can access way deeper forms of knowing. But it's very different. So we'll teach all the tools, we'll teach all the techniques, we'll teach everything we've got. But I'm not, but I feel like this is one of the most important things to share is like that's never gonna be the game in a way. They're all super helpful things to inform how we show up in a moment where we let go of what we think, and it can just be available for what's happening. Is that landing? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like so I was talking to Kari yesterday. She's like, I wish Forrest had a year-long program that we could call into and process once a month from everything that we're learning. And so what's coming up for me and you saying that is like these 8 core aspects of being a facilitator, or the understanding to have as a facilitator or whatnot. I'm just thinking like, what if you did a year-long or an 8-month program or something like that? But so like Pacific Integral or Spectra, Thomas McConkie held a program called Spectra for a year. And people had homework and online connections throughout the year, but they were all responsible for their own travel to Oregon like 4 times in that year. So that was just part of the commitment. And so I guess, so that's just a possibility, I guess, that's coming up with me. You're saying like it's alive, you have to be experiencing it, you have to be in like the moving part of what Light in Action is, but also having an understanding of these principles. Like for me, the understanding, like it's here, it moves to my body, and then being in a container makes it come alive. So, and I'm just thinking of like anyone off the street that's interested in something like this, to move them from where they are into a facilitator. Like that's, I think that's how it would have to work, because that's where people live. They'd have to learn it here and then have the experience in their body and then be in a container where they're seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it, because my hearing you, I'm going, okay, I can show up to these calls to do like the lecture calls, and I don't know what I'll say, but I can do it, and then we'll see how it goes, and then afterwards I can look at that and either use it or make a better one and put it in the learning library that we were talking about. And over the course of the year, it'll turn into an online course that someone could off the street could just go and buy and go through on their own through each module.
Yep.
But
Yep.
we could have
And
one
that's
call a month that's a lecture call and one call a month that's a process what's happening in your life call.
yeah, that's what I wrote all this in my kitchen. So you've got like your weekend retreats. So I don't know, you could have like a healers in the home or healers in the community program, and then you could have like a healers at work program. I don't know if that resonates at all. But when you were talking about tech, like I wrote this, I don't know if you can see it. Just like a cross.
Send us
where,
a
like,
picture.
Okay. Home and family, like there's a line of home and family or community and a line of tech. And tech, and I mentioned this in my voice note the other night, that like as a mother in the community right now, the pace that technology is working at is pushing against the sovereignty and the safety of a home. And I know that's not the whole picture, but
Holy shit.
home and the heart of like home and community is this like slower womb that I think tech is meant to like actually move through, to be a soulful tool. I don't know if that makes sense either, but when I worked with Stefan, like my gift in the center of my heart was also like it was only accessible through a pace of being slow.
Mm-hmm.
And which is, I guess, is what you're already saying. But back to this year-long program, I had written like each of you have your specialties, each of you have your like the way that you're accessing light, and maybe it's all the same, but from my observation, it's like Landon's accessing it, and he doesn't have access to um, the same program that you're living in right now, but he has his own program that he's bringing to it. It's still light, it's just moving through him in his model. I don't know. So each of you are hosting a classroom each month with your specialty, and then you or Stefan or something are bringing, after that lecture, you and Stefan are bringing people into the field to process what they've learned in the lecture. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe this is what you're already saying.
No, it's not. I don't think it's what I'm saying. I really am enjoying what you're saying.
Okay. So all of us, I feel like all of us that are being attracted to light and action have a unique gift that we're bringing with us. And over time, like maybe these 8 principles, you form a year-long course for people to go through, where each of you are teaching one of these specialties, and then you and Stefan are holding a processing call additionally with that each month. And over the course of time, like more and more people are going to wake up to their gifts in this, and the learning library becomes something like, it's like school for the new world, essentially. There's this archive of school for the new world that people can access. I don't know if that, I'm so jumbly right now. This is trying to move through me, but my mind is like so mushy.
Victoria?
And on this, I had written like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Mary.
I had just written like specialties like biomechanics, the energy field, anatomy and physiology, development, human development, shadow and light. And maybe people that are waking up to their gifts like can be like those can be the umbrella topics, and people can be kind of lined up under those umbrella topics.
What's happening for you, Victoria?
Hmm. I must say I feel pretty lost. Maybe you got more clarity, but I feel totally lost and a bit even disconnected because I have a feeling that this thing is that Mary is talking about is more about United States and something happening there. So it felt like it felt distant to me and not related to me.
Hmm.
Uh, and I cannot say, like, I understand the words, I understand the program, I understand the idea, but I um yeah, I feel lost just when
Hmm.
I'm listening to this.
You know, Victoria, as I'm hearing you, I'm what's happening for me is I'm thinking about the 6 month embodiment training that you just signed up for. And I'm thinking about how, when I've talked to you about it, I get this feeling of like, yeah, Victoria's doing this training and it's going to help her see how we can bring all this light and action stuff into a 6 month light and action training that's even better. That's on my side. I own that fully. But I wonder if that feels true for you. And if so, like, does there feel anything there for you in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time that I open the materials of this course, I will just explain to Mary that I have just signed up for Mark Walton's course, certification for embodiment coaching, I think it's called. They had a super offer for Ukrainians, so I just took a chance and jumped right in, and it's a 6 month training and I'm super excited about it. And I'm already like I'm a learner there, and at the same time I observe how the course is made, what I really like about this, what resonates. And when I shared with Forrest that I'm doing this, he said, oh, so you can look like from inside into this, and then you can take the best practice and we can put it into light and action and use it there. And I'm already sharing this the things that I see there, because I really like, there was one thing, it was called well-being audit. We had this PDF file that we needed to feel for ourselves and to see where we are actually in our well-being. And one thing that lacked there, I don't know, Forrest, if you saw it, there was nothing about money. There was
Mm,
a lot about body, about movement, about everything, but there was nothing about money. How financially well do you feel? I think that's an
yeah,
important question, actually.
agreed.
Yeah, so I'm absolutely resonating with what you're saying, Forrest, now, because I would be happy to gather all the best stuff and to put it into program. I guess my feeling of being lost was more connected with when you two were talking. I just didn't feel where my place in it
Mm,
was.
Oh,
It was like I don't know how to relate to all this stuff program, because there are lecturers and there are people like hosts and people organizers, and if it's all happening in the United States, then I'm kind of um, in another part of the world.
oh. Yeah, my
I get
thought. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, something cut out. Were you saying something for us?
yeah, I'm just I was going to speak and then I'm letting in Victoria what you shared a little bit more and it's like um I guess I get curious what you feel most connected to.
Well, right now I feel the most connected and ready for the twinkle field. Because this is something that I understand clearly.
Hmm.
There are just some technical organizational questions that need to be organized, but this is something that I do understand.
Mm.
I what I don't understand, like I guess when you say light and action, it could be anything. It gives less clarity to everything even more, and um, like I still don't understand uh, if there needs to be a facilitation training for the light and action or not, whether we can do this or not.
Mm.
um like you know
Mm.
I but I do understand how I relate to the twinkle field. That's I think that would be my clarity for now.
Yeah, I would love to get, I just put it in the chat, but I'd love to get clarity on what the technical questions are for the twinkle field from you, because I feel like that's something we could go ahead and get started with. And um, I've said it before. Well, I'll say it again. I feel like you're fully capable of being a twinkle field practitioner, facilitator. Um, I feel like you have gotten the training through osmosis or the training through transmission or something. Um, so I'm like, okay, let's go. And we can keep that going moving forward. It's not like that needs to stop. But I'm like, okay, what are the technical things we need to do? And let's spin it up and start enrolling people, because that's a kind of support that people need.
Can I
Yeah,
ask
that's
for clarity on the twinkle field? I'm sorry.
go on, go
Can you said, can you have clarity on Twinklefield,
Yeah.
Victoria?
on. As I have the most clarity. um so the idea was to have this space open with at least one facilitator in a twinkle mode present in the space to hold the space, and people can come and do all the stuff that we named today: slow down, regulate their nervous system, connect to themselves. And it could be either in silence or in conversation, or it could be just having the field in the background. And the initial idea that Forrest suggested was to have it actually to have this field open 24/7 and by subscription, so that whenever you feel the need, or any of us also, we can use it for our own needs. When we feel not twinkly, we can come to this field and
Recalibrate.
do what Forrest suggested.
Mm.
But in order to have it 24/7 open, we already started discussing it with Forrest. We need at least, well, at least 12 facilitators, or 24, or like many people.
Well,
Um,
Victoria, my impulse is, let's start with what we have. I mean, you could facilitate for an hour to a week. I could facilitate for an hour to a week, and then we just do that.
Yes, that was my suggestion that I was bringing today to the call,
Yeah.
to have some kind of schedule put up on the website, for example. The twinkle field is open
Yep.
from 2 to 4 to anyone who feels like they need some time, they can come up. So yeah, that was exactly what I wanted to suggest.
So yeah, well, like, do you have a Zoom link, Victoria, like for your own, for Zoom, that you could have people in it?
I do.
Okay, so technically we can use your Zoom link and my Zoom link. So we've got the place we can facilitate already worked out. We need a price. I guess people can sign up for one call or they can purchase monthly / yearly subscription. You might want to do yearly later, just offer daily or monthly for now. We need day, and I can put this all on the website. I can literally do this today. So the request, Victoria, would be to spend a second into that. I want to come over to you and check in and see what's happening for you. So that gives Mary, just to draw a through line, that gives a solution exactly what you were just asking for in relationship to the conversation you had with me yesterday, which is there a call once or twice a week where I can come on and share what's going on and get present? And I will say, Victoria is more than capable of convening this. So talk to her about whether or not that's of interest to her.
Sorry, who is?
Jen.
Jen? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's one principle for the twinkle field that I want to state that's really important, which is to not allow yourself to crash when other people crash. So the most important thing in convening the twinkle field is we stay. So if other people go into guilt, shame, not worthy, we don't crash down. We just stay in unconditional love. Don't need you to be any different than you are. Present, resourced, regulated, capable. Thank you for sharing. I don't need to. I'm broken. I'm helpless. You're fully capable. I'm going to give the transmission of being regulated, being twinkly, unconditional love, pervasive care. Like that most important thing is just to radiate regulated, grounded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a lighthouse in all directions, right? To use your metaphor you used.
By the way, in my last craniosacral training, we had one, I don't know how to say, method that we learned. When we start a craniosacral session and we feel that body is not responding, that person is super closed up or in a deep stress, we do this thing. We can put our hands on any parts of the body. Usually it's under the knee and under shoulder because we're sitting on the side of the person. And there is a statue, I think it's by Michelangelo, if I'm not mistaken. It's called in Italian Pietà. And there is Mother Mary holding Jesus in her hands, just like that. And there is a lot of compassion and grace and love coming from her posture. So that's what we are doing in this technique. We are sitting, just holding this person, and yeah, exactly. And that's what we basically do. We hold a person, and we are just radiating all these emotions of deepest love, compassion. But I'm not sure what this word in English is. Mercy. Yeah, it's mercy. And we just hold it for whatever time we feel we need to hold this person. And after that, usually body starts to respond, and we feel that craniosacral session is going further. So that's basically what I felt when you were talking about holding the space when person conscious.
Yeah, one of the moments at the Boulder gathering, I was holding Winnie, which is, gosh, Winnie must be now 6 months old. She was 3 months old when I was holding her. She's twice as old as she was now. But I was holding her, and she was in a process. Huge. She was releasing so much stuff. I was holding her in my arms. And then Mary was in a process, and I was holding Mary. And then this other woman at the gathering was also in a process. So I was holding three people in their processes at the same time. And one of them was in my arms, having this massive release, like right up my face and my chest and everything. But after that all finished, someone walked up to me at the gathering and said, she said, Forrest, I feel like I got to see like seeing you hold Winnie, I see how you hold the present moment. And it was just like this moment of just like, holy fuck, I feel so seen. Like it even makes me cry right now. It was just like, ooh, that really stuck me. It's probably the most seen I've ever felt in my whole life. Just hold this moment just like a newborn baby. I'm still convinced that Winnie is the one who convened all of us. Oh, I'm all tearful.
Mary, how was it for you to hear about the twinkle field, about this whole idea?
So my translation of what you're describing the twinkle field as practitioners, you are able to like align with a client or a person that's coming with you, like sync up with them, and then permeate their fields or whatnot with just this potent field of compassion and love and groundedness, and like you holding your true frame or nature, um, in a boundaried but unconditional way, remind or helps them remember like their true nature and frame as well. Is that the twinkle field?
Well, I do perceive it exactly this way. I guess for me, twinkle field is very much like craniosacral field because I don't know. Are you familiar with craniosacral therapy?
I've heard of it. I've never experienced it myself, but I have heard of it. Yeah. And
Here's the thing
Yes.
have heard of that.
Here's the thing that's important. So everything in the universe is vibrating. Matter is vibrating like this. This cup is vibrating, just vibrating really slowly. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and then spirit, consciousness, awareness vibrates like this. So this is the twinkle field. Now, the thing that's important about our twinkle field is it's not just a healing field. If you hold a craniosacral field or a field of love and healing, people heal. because that which is stuck and dense can actually unstuckify back into spirit. Because that's what happens. Like trauma is like when a moment happens and it's too much to be processed in the moment, and it goes like this. And it's a frozen moment in space and time. So what we do is we hold a field where the love and twinkle can find where's the thing. It can mold right inside of it in a perfect shape and start to vibrate in it until it melts and dissolves, and now it's all twinkling again. That's how trauma heals in the twinkle field. Now, the important thing is that's not the only thing we do, because the twinkle is also exploding because there's money in our twinkle field. It's the energy of manifestation. It's the energy of resourceness. Everything we need is already here. And so it's not just a healing and loving field. It is that. But the cool thing is you can come into the twinkle field and you can heal as a byproduct of being in the field. You don't have to go through some deep healing process. You can just show up and heal and awaken yourself. So it's a healing field, it's an awakening field, but we don't have to be healing all the time. You just heal because you're in it. But the other thing is you get this you access your innate capableness. You access your innate like canness, capableness. This is possibleness. It's not just opening up to pure possibility. Oh my God, we're living in an ocean of untapped potential. It's all possible. Okay, now I'm going to go back to eating a salad. It's like, no, like I'm opening up to all this potential, and then this potential is palpating into every cell in my body and every fiber of my being and acting. I got to clear here. Acting as me in the world, through the world, to the point that my presence in a room pervasively permeates the potency, triple P, of what we're tapped into and connected with here. Right? I don't need to leave and go to a retreat to access this in some altered state. This state comes in, and I move through the world as an embodied example of what this invites in ether and in form, in spirit and in form, in matter and in consciousness. So it's not just a healing field. It's resourced.
Resourceful, inspiring.
Yep. Satiating.
I guess, I have a feeling that it kind of can give different results in different times. Like it's not every time that person comes in, they come out all full of energy and inspired and everything. It's like it's different, and it depends on request and depends on
a lot
the
of the
state.
people in Boulder just came and slept. A lot of people came to Boulder and literally got on the ground and slept.
Really?
Yeah. They literally just came in and they were like, all I want to do is lie down. Because what happens is you come into a field that's so resourced that the whole backlog of information that you're walking around with, it's like the metaphor I always make. These people are like a browser with 500 tabs open.
Yeah.
And they're just that little color wheel spinning. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll get up and go get a burrito. Okay, I guess I'll go to work. Wow, like, no. And then you come in this field and you sit down and you're like, holy shit. And all of a sudden you're held in a supercomputer and all those tabs can start processing and going where they need to go and closing out. And the color wheel goes away and your system starts to move again. And you're like, you don't do anything, but a lot happens. And then you're more available. You have more bandwidth, you have more resourceness, and you're connected to a supercomputer now.
And as a facilitator, are you mentally processing what the person is going through, or is it all just your field?
No, the mental mind gets in the way of healing. Yeah. The mental mind gets in the way of healing. Because when you have a trauma, the mind that's sourced from the trauma is traumatized. So what actually happens is when you heal the innate trauma and that uplifts and resolves, you drop into pure resourced emptiness. You drop into full emptiness, and then a new mind emerges. But whatever the dominant ego state was with the trauma will not be there anymore when the trauma is unearthed. No, what?
I mean, that's been my experience, but I didn't have language to it. So that's really cool to hear.
What you do as a practitioner is you do body work in awareness.
Cool.
Like the same way that when I lie down with someone's concrete physical body and I start palpating with my hands and my hands start listening and they go to where someone's constriction is or someone's not in their fascia. That's what you do it just in consciousness. And you just hang out and you go like, oh,
yeah,
that's where that person's holding that thing. If you have the capacity to do that. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that to convene the twinkle field. All you need to do is sit in this energy. All you have to do to convene this twinkle field is sit in the twinkle field because it's already here. You don't have to create the twinkle field. It's whether or not you're aware it exists, right? It's like we're all walking around the Garden of Eden in every moment. It's just, are we aware of it? Like heaven and hell are states of consciousness. Like the twinkle field is just a state. And if you get into the state and speak from the state, this is the other thing, Victoria, I forgot we did this, but you remember that day when we were talking about training and all I did was speak from it? I was like, hold on, I'll do it right now. You ready, Mary? I was like, okay, we can just drop super deep into a place where we're coherent and we can speak from the depth of our being. And when I do this, I'm not speaking about something, I'm speaking from something. And so since I'm speaking from it to you both in this moment, you can find your way to where I am because I'm speaking from it. And so you both right now are able to navigate to where I am in consciousness because I'm sitting in a place that's deeply resourced, peaceful. And you're able to just sink right down to the bottom of the ocean and find where I'm hanging out. That's way more powerful than me telling you about something. So the whole fucking field just changed right now because of what just happened with the three of us. It got quieter where Mary is, everything just shifted. So now we can notice more and more refined things. So the point is we drop into this field and we hang out here and we speak from here and we welcome people to it without needing anybody to be here. We just hang out, talk from it, radiate it into the room, and then people can find their way to us.
How about we do some test weeks? We can do
Great.
some test weeks of the twinkle field just for our cohort, the first one, the next one, like for the people that are already in the field of light and action. Yeah. And this way we can see how it feels. We can get feedback. We can see how to be with the schedule and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And other people can get the taste of the twinkle field.
Right on.
I have been summoned to the daycare. I have to change my baby's bed. Are you guys going to be on this call a little bit longer? I can join in a few minutes. All right, I'll try and join back in a few minutes. You're there. Okay, see you soon, maybe.
Give the kids my love. See you.
I will. Bye, Victoria.
Are we having fun yet?
I'm looking at your ice cream. Are you eating ice cream or yogurt
Smoothie.
smoothie? I'm
More
already
breakfast.
feeling saliva in my mouth. It looks so delicious.
It is so delicious. Part of a well-balanced twinkle field.
I'm noticing that I have fears coming up about the twinkle